I found the armored figure in the depths of a demon world, standing alone in a lake of demonic ichor, surrounded by 10,000 corpses that were still dissolving into the warp. He didn't speak, didn't acknowledge our presence, just reloaded his weapon, some primitive slug thrower that shouldn't have worked in this reality, and kept walking toward the next wave of demons. My name is Inquisitor Covenant, Ordo Malleus, and I've spent 40 years hunting the truth about the Lost Primarchs, the 11th, the one the Emperor ordered expunged from all records. You think you know why the Imperium forbids speaking of them. You think it was heresy, corruption, some great betrayal. But what if I told you it was the opposite? What if one Primarch was so effective at killing demons that even the Emperor feared what he might become? What if the Doomslayer isn't human at all? Chapter 1. The Discovery. The astropathic message that reached the inquisitorial fortress on Titan was brief, scrambled, and should have been impossible. It came from the Eye of Terror, a region of space where reality itself had surrendered to chaos 40,000 years ago. No Imperial vessel ventured there willingly. No human could survive there unprotected for more than minutes before corruption took hold. The message contained 3 words. He is real. It was signed with a cipher I recognized. Inquisitor Mordecai, my former mentor, who had disappeared into the Eye of Terror 27 years ago, chasing rumors of a green armored angel who walked demon worlds alone, killing everything that moved. I assembled a strike team within 6 hours. 3 Grey Knights, the Imperium's most elite demon hunters, space marines whose very existence was a secret. 5 Sisters of Battle from the Order of the Sacred Rose, their faith absolute. And myself, an Inquisitor who had spent 4 decades investigating what the Imperium would kill me for researching. The Lost Primarchs. Every space marine knows there were once 20 Primarchs, the Emperor's genetically engineered sons, demigods who led humanity's great crusade across the galaxy, but only 18 are ever discussed. The 2nd and 11th Legions were expunged from Imperial records so thoroughly that even speaking of them is considered heresy by some. I'd spent my entire career trying to understand why. Inquisitor, Brother Captain Alaric of the Grey Knights, approached me in the strike cruiser's Strategium, his Aegis armor humming with protective wards. I must protest this mission. The Eye of Terror is not merely dangerous, it is fundamentally corrupting. Every second we spend there increases the risk of demonic possession. Noted, I replied, studying the star charts that showed our destination. A demon world designated only as Vorash 88 in ancient Imperial records. But if Mordecai's intelligence is accurate, we're not just investigating rumors, we're potentially recovering a lost Primarch. Alaric's expression behind his helmet was unreadable, but his voice carried clear skepticism. The Lost Primarchs are dead, Inquisitor. Or worse, the Emperor himself ordered their memories erased. If one survived, do you truly believe he would allow it to remain in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years? Perhaps he didn't allow it, I suggested. Perhaps even the Emperor couldn't stop it. That statement was borderline heresy, but Alaric didn't challenge it. The Grey Knights knew truths that would shatter normal humans. They understood that even the God Emperor of mankind had limits. We translated into real space at Vorash 88's edge 3 days later, and immediately understood why Mordecai's message had been so scrambled. The planet existed in a state of quantum flux, partially in real space, partially in the warp, the boundary between dimensions bleeding like an infected wound. The sky was wrong colors that hurt to perceive. The oceans were liquid screaming. The continents were made of compressed malice. It was a demon world in the truest sense, a place where hell itself had physical form. Scanning for life signs, our tech priest intoned, his mechadendrites interfacing with the ship's Auspex systems. Detecting impossible readings, multiple demon manifestations, estimated population 40 million entities, and one anomaly. Define anomaly, I commanded. Biological signature consistent with human baseline, but energy readings inconsistent with normal human metabolism. The entity is generating localized reality stabilization, essentially pushing back the warp's influence through sheer presence. Inquisitor, that should not be possible. Only the Emperor himself possesses such innate anti-warp properties. Or a Primarch, I thought. Out loud. Can you track the anomaly? Yes. The entity is mobile, moving through the demon population at... The tech priest paused, his biological eye widening in what might have been fear or awe. Inquisitor, the entity is moving at sustained speeds, exceeding 100 kilometers per hour through hostile terrain while maintaining continuous combat. It has eliminated over 3,000 demon manifestations in the past 17 minutes. 3,000 in 17 minutes? Sister Superior Magdalene spoke up, her voice sharp with disbelief. That's impossible. Even a full company of Grey Knights couldn't achieve that kill rate against demonic forces. Nevertheless, the data is conclusive, the tech priest replied. The entity is not merely fighting, it is hunting. Demon forces are attempting to retreat from its presence. I made my decision. Prepare drop pods. We're going down. Target zone, 5 kilometers from the anomaly's current position. We approach on foot to avoid drawing attention. From the demons or from the anomaly? Alaric asked dryly. Both, I admitted. The drop pod descent through Varash 88's atmosphere was the most harrowing experience of my life, and I'd survived 3 separate demonic incursions. The planet's reality instability meant our pods phased partially into the warp during descent. I saw things in those moments that I pray the Emperor will cleanse from my memory. Faces of people I'd killed in the name of duty, versions of myself that had accepted chaos corruption. Futures where humanity was extinct and demons ruled a silent galaxy. Then we hit solid ground, and reality reasserted itself with nauseating force. The landscape of Varash 88 was meat. Not metaphorically, the ground was literally compressed demon flesh, pulsing with unnatural life. The air tasted like copper and screaming. The horizon flickered between multiple contradictory states of existence. Maintain psych-out grenade proximity, Alaric commanded his Grey Knights. Sister Superior, establish perimeter. Inquisitor, with respect, stay in the center of our formation. Your rosette won't protect you here. We advanced through hell itself, following the tech priest's Auspex readings toward the anomaly. The demon population was indeed fleeing. We saw packs of lesser demons, entities that would require full military companies to eliminate on Imperial worlds, running in terror from something ahead. Then we heard it. Music. Heavy, distorted, aggressive. The kind of sound that shouldn't exist in the Imperium's grim darkness. And beneath it, rhythmic sounds. Boom, boom, boom. Like artillery, like thunder, like the heartbeat of an angry god. We crested a ridge of compressed demon flesh and saw the battlefield below. 10,000 demons, bloodletters, plague-bearers, demonettes, the foot soldiers of chaos gods, swarmed across a valley of tortured landscape, and cutting through them like a scythe through wheat was a single figure in armor, the color of oxidized bronze and rage. He was massive, easily matching a Space Marine's bulk, possibly exceeding it. His armor was archaic, covered in scratches, scorch marks, and demonic ichor so thick it had become part of the aesthetic. He wielded weapons I'd never seen. A double-barreled shotgun that fired shells infused with some kind of blessed energy, a gauntlet that punched with the force of thunder, and blades mounted on his arms that could tear through demonic essence like paper. But it was how he fought that made my breath catch. No strategy, no tactics, no careful planning. Just pure, relentless, unstoppable aggression. He didn't dodge demon attacks. He walked through them, his armor absorbing blows that would shatter ceramite. He didn't retreat when surrounded. He charged deeper into their ranks, each kill flowing into the next with mechanical efficiency. And his speed. Emperor preserve us. His speed was transhuman, possibly superhuman. A bloodthirster. A greater demon of Khorne. A creature that could challenge entire Space Marine companies, manifested before him with a roar that shattered the tortured sky. The armored figure didn't hesitate. He launched himself at the demon with a grappling hook swung onto its shoulders, and drove both arm blades through its skull with such force that the greater demon simply ceased to exist its essence, too damaged to maintain coherence, even in the warp. "Throne of Terror," Alaric whispered. "What is that?" "That," I replied, my voice shaking with something between terror and reverence, "is what I've been searching for my entire career." We watched for 17 minutes as the armored figure systematically exterminated every daemon in the valley. He didn't tire, didn't slow, didn't show any sign of the corruption that should have overwhelmed him within minutes of exposure to this concentrated chaos environment. When the last demon fell, silence crashed over the battlefield like a physical force. The figure stood among the dissipating corpses, reloading his weapons with practiced motions. And then, finally, he noticed us. He turned, and through his helmet's visor, I saw eyes that glowed with green fire. Not the sickly green of Nurgle's corruption, or the jade of Tzeentch's sorcery. Clean fire, pure fire. The kind of flame that didn't corrupt, it purified. He raised his shotgun, aiming directly at us with perfect precision. "We're not demons," I shouted, stepping forward despite Alaric's attempt to restrain me. "We're Imperial, Ordo Malleus. We're human." The figure didn't lower his weapon. For 5 heartbeats, we stood in that valley of demon corpses while he apparently analyzed us through whatever sensors his ancient armor contained. Then, slowly, he lowered the shotgun and spoke for the first time in what I suspected might be 10,000 years. His voice was processed through his helmet, distorted by age and damage, but the single word was clear. Human. Not a question, a confirmation, like he was reminding himself. I took a careful step forward. "My name is Inquisitor Covenant, Ordo Malleus. We've been searching for you, for the lost." He moved faster than my eyes could track, crossing 15 meters in a blur of bronze armor, his gauntlet seizing my throat with strength that could crush ceramite. Alaric and his grey knights immediately raised their weapons, but I frantically waved them off. The figure brought his helmet close to my face. Those green eyes burned with intensity that felt like looking into a star. "Demons," he said, the word carrying weight beyond its meaning. Not demons, demons with that archaic pronunciation. "Where?" "Everywhere," I managed to choke out. "This whole world, the entire Eye of Terror, across the galaxy wherever the warp bleeds through. We fight them. Like you. He released me, stepping back. His helmet tilted slightly, processing this information. Then he reached up and disengaged his helmet's seals. The face beneath was human, stern, scarred, with eyes that held 10,000 years of absolute fury barely restrained, but human. Recognizably, undeniably human, though something about the bone structure, the proportions, suggested enhancement beyond even space marine modifications. "Show me," he commanded in that distorted voice. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that I'd just found something the Emperor had tried to erase from history. Not a traitor, not a corrupted son, but a weapon so perfectly designed to kill demons that even the master of mankind had feared where that purpose might lead. I'd found the Lost 11th Primarch, and he was still fighting the Long War, one demon at a time, in the heart of hell itself. Chapter 2. The Slayer's Truth. We established a temporary base camp in what passed for stable terrain on Vorash 88, a plateau of compressed demon flesh that had calcified into something resembling stone. The Grey Knights erected psychic wards that pushed back the planet's reality corruption, creating a bubble of almost normal space where we could breathe without inhaling screaming. The Slayer, I'd started thinking of him that way, unable to reconcile this figure with the Imperial designation, Primarch, sat at the camp's edge, methodically cleaning his weapons with movements refined by millennia of practice. His armor was a marvel of lost technology, self-repairing systems that utilized demon essence as fuel, reactive plating that absorbed kinetic impacts impossibly well, and power systems that drew energy from his own rage. That last part wasn't metaphor. The tech priest had scanned him surreptitiously and reported readings that defied Imperial understanding. The Slayer's fury literally powered his armor through some psychoreactive mechanism that converted emotion into energy. It was tech of the highest order. It was also terrifyingly effective. "He hasn't spoken since we arrived," Sister Superior Magdalene observed quietly. "Just maintenance and watching the horizon. What is he waiting for?" "More demons," I replied. "That's all he does. Kill demons, maintain equipment, repeat. I don't think he's capable of doing anything else anymore." Brother Captain Alaric joined us, his ancient power armor humming with protective wards. "Inquisitor, I must report my observations. That individual displays capabilities consistent with Primarch-level enhancement. Strength, speed, durability, all exceed standard Astartes parameters. But his combat doctrine is problematic." "Define problematic." "He fights like a berserker," Alaric said carefully. "No tactical planning, no strategic withdrawal, no consideration for collateral damage or long-term consequences. He simply identifies demon presence and eliminates it through overwhelming aggression. It's effective but fundamentally incompatible with how the Imperium wages war." I watched the Slayer disassemble his shotgun, examining each component with focused intensity. Maybe that's why the Emperor erased him. Not because he failed, but because he succeeded too well. How do you control a weapon that only knows how to kill one enemy, can never be turned off, and refuses to stop even when stopping would be tactically advantageous? "You don't," Alaric replied grimly. "You lock it away and pretend it never existed." I approached the Slayer carefully, making my footsteps deliberately audible. He didn't react, not because he hadn't heard me, but because he'd already assessed I wasn't a threat. His sensory awareness was superhuman, even by Primarch standards. "We brought supplies," I said, setting down a pack containing rations, water purification tablets, and ammunition for more conventional weapons. "And medical equipment if you're injured." He glanced at the pack, then returned to cleaning his weapons. The message was clear. He didn't need our supplies. "How long have you been here?" I tried. "On this world, in the Eye of Terror. Decades, centuries." No response. "The Imperium thinks you're dead. The Lost Primarchs, both of you from the 2nd and 11th Legions, were expunged from all records after the heresy. Nobody knows what happened. Nobody's allowed to know. But I've spent my life investigating, and I found references, fragments, hints of a Primarch who was so effective against demonic threats that he was deployed exclusively to the warp-touched worlds. They called you Doomslayer." The word hung in the air like a blade. He'd spoken without looking up from his weapons maintenance, his voice carrying that same process distortion. "Yes," I confirmed. "In the oldest records, buried so deep I shouldn't have been able to access them. The Doomslayer, the Emperor's weapon against hell itself. What happened? Why were you erased?" He finally looked at me, those green eyes burning with intensity that made me want to step back. When he spoke, each word was carefully chosen, as if human language had become foreign to him. "I killed them all. Every demon in that sector. 7 worlds. Purified. The Emperor." He paused, and I saw something flicker across his scarred face. Pain? Regret? "The Emperor said stop. I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. So he erased me." The confession hit like a thunder hammer. "You defied the Emperor?" "No." The Slayer's gauntleted hand tightened on his shotgun. "I fulfilled my purpose. I killed demons. All of them. He wanted me to stop, to return to the crusade, to fight other wars. But demons were still alive. Somewhere. Everywhere. How could I stop when they existed?" I began to understand. The Emperor had created a Primarch so perfectly designed to fight chaos that he'd become incapable of doing anything else. A weapon with no off switch, no tactical flexibility, no ability to see the broader strategic picture, just pure, relentless, demon-killing fury. "So, he sent you here," I said quietly, "to the Eye of Terror, where you could kill demons forever without interfering with the Imperium's other wars. I sent myself, the Slayer corrected. Walked into the eye. He couldn't stop me, couldn't kill me. I'm his son, so he erased the records. Told the Imperium I was dead. Let me do what I was made to do. Sister Magdalene had approached close enough to hear the conversation. You've been fighting alone for 10,000 years. In hell itself, with no support, no resupply, no hope of victory. The Slayer's expression might have been a smile, might have been a grimace. Victory is every demon that dies. Defeat is demons that live. Simple. But you're suffering, she insisted, her faith-driven compassion overwhelming her caution. This existence, eternal war, with no rest, no peace, no purpose beyond killing, that's damnation, not duty. He stood then, his full height towering over even the power-armored grey knights. He moved close to Magdalene, close enough that she had to crane her neck to meet his eyes. I chose this, he said with absolute conviction. Emperor made me to kill demons. I'm good at it. Best there ever was. So I kill demons, forever, until every single one is dead or I am. That's not damnation. That's purpose. He turned to address all of us, his processed voice carrying across the camp. You came here looking for a lost Primarch, looking for someone to save, someone to bring back to your Imperium. I'm not that. I'm not a general, not a leader, not a politician or strategist or whatever the other Primarchs became. He gestured to the valley below where demon corpses were still dissolving. I'm a weapon, the only weapon that matters in the war that matters. You want to help? Tell me where the biggest demon concentrations are, then leave. I have work to do. Brother Captain Alaric stepped forward, his grey knight authority evident. We cannot simply leave you here. You're one of the Emperor's sons. The Emperor has 18 sons recorded in Imperial history, the Slayer interrupted. Not 20. He made his choice. I made mine. Those choices have consequences. But the Imperium needs you, Magdalene protested. Demon incursions are increasing across every segmentum. The Great Rift tore the galaxy in half. Chaos is winning. One Primarch dedicated purely to fighting demons could turn the tide. The Slayer was silent for a long moment. Then, take me to the Great Rift, to the largest demon manifestation in real space. I'll kill them all, then return me here. Deal. I looked at Alaric, at Magdalene, at my team. We'd come searching for a lost Primarch, hoping to find a savior for the Imperium. We'd found something different. A weapon that couldn't be commanded, couldn't be controlled, couldn't be anything except what it was. But that weapon killed demons better than anything else in the galaxy. Deal, I agreed. But I need to know one thing first. Your name, your real name, before you were the Doomslayer. What did the Emperor call you? Those green eyes burned brighter for a moment. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of 10,000 years of suppressed memory. Flynn. He called me Flynn. The name sounded strange in his processed voice, like a word from a dead language. Primarch of the 11th Legion, the Demon Breakers. We fought on 43 worlds during the Great Crusade, purified every single one. 0 chaos survivors, 0 corruption, total extinction of demonic presence. He paused, his gauntleted hand flexing unconsciously. The other Primarchs called us excessive. Roboute said our tactics lacked strategic flexibility. Rogel said we couldn't integrate with broader Imperial operations. Even Lehman, who understood necessary brutality, said we went too far. What changed? I asked. Monarchia. The word came out like a curse. You know that world, where Lorgar built his perfect city, worshipping the Emperor as a god, where my father ordered it burned as punishment. I nodded. Every Inquisitor knew the story of Monarchia, the catalyst that eventually pushed Lorgar and his word-bearers into chaos worship. I was there before Roboute arrived with his Ultramarines, Flynn continued. Found demon taint buried deep in Monarchia's foundations. Lorgar's worship hadn't just been misguided, it had opened cracks in reality. Minor, containable, but present. I recommended total planetary sterilization, extermination of the entire population, virus bombing to ensure no corruption survived. His expression darkened. The Emperor refused, said the punishment needed to be political, not practical, said destroying the population would make martyrs, so he ordered Roboute to burn the city but spare the people. Half measures. And what happened? Lorgar fell to chaos, Alaric said quietly. The heresy began. Because we didn't go far enough, Flynn said with absolute certainty. Because politics mattered more than purity. That's when I understood. The Emperor wasn't fighting the war I thought he was fighting. He was building an Imperium. I was killing demons, different wars, incompatible objectives. He began packing his weapons with methodical efficiency, preparing for deployment. After Monarchia, the Emperor assigned me to warp-touched worlds exclusively. Keep me away from politics, away from the other Primarchs, away from anything except what I was good at. For a while it worked. I purified 17 worlds. Then came Caldera Infernus. The name meant nothing to me, and from the others' expressions, it was new to them as well. Demon world in real space, Flynn explained. Pre-heresy, full-scale demonic manifestation that shouldn't have been possible with the Emperor still active. 7 billion humans corrupted or possessed. My legion deployed. We fought for 47 days. Killed every demon, every cultist, every corrupted civilian. Total purification. He stopped packing and turned to face us fully. When we finished, the Emperor ordered us to stop. Said Caldera Infernus was purified enough. Said we needed to return to the Crusade to fight other wars. But I could still feel them. Demons. Thousands of them. Hiding in the warp, waiting to return when we left. How could I leave knowing they'd come back? So you disobeyed, I said. I stayed. My entire legion stayed. We hunted every daemon spawn hiding in pocket dimensions. We purified the planet down to its mantle. And when we finished, when Caldera Infernus was truly clean for the first time in its existence, he paused. We felt more. Demons on other worlds, in the warp itself, everywhere. How could we stop when they existed? Sister Magdalen's voice was soft with understanding. The Emperor ordered you back anyway. He did. I refused. Half my legion returned to avoid censure. The other half stayed with me. We continued the purification. World after world. The other Primarchs called it obsession, called us madmen. But they didn't understand, couldn't understand what it felt like to know demons existed and not be killing them every second of every day. Flynn's eyes burned brighter. Eventually the Emperor came himself, stood on the ruins of the 7th world we'd purified. He said, "My son, you've done well, but this war cannot be won in a single lifetime. There are other threats that need you." And I realized he didn't want to win against demons. He wanted to contain them, manage them, use them as tools against other enemies. That's when I knew I couldn't serve his Imperium anymore. "So you walked into the Eye of Terror," Alaric finished. I told him I was going to kill every demon that existed. He said it was impossible. I said I'd die trying. He said that would take 10,000 years. I said good, plenty of time. Flynn's scarred face showed something that might have been satisfaction. He could have stopped me, could have ordered the other Primarchs to restrain me physically, but he didn't. He just erased my legion's records, redistributed my Marines to other chapters, and let me walk into hell. "Why?" Magdalen asked. "Why let you go?" "Because part of him agreed with me," Flynn said quietly. "The part that hates demons more than anything else in existence. The part that would burn the galaxy clean if he could. He couldn't be that part. He had to be the Emperor, the administrator, the politician. But he could create a son who was nothing but that part. And when that son became too pure for the Imperium to contain, he could let him go do what needed doing." The implications were staggering. The Emperor hadn't erased the 11th Primarch as punishment. He'd released him, created a weapon so perfect it couldn't be controlled, and then aimed it at hell itself for eternity. "That's why there are no records," I breathed. "Not just erasure, deliberate redirection. Anyone searching for the lost Primarchs finds dead ends, conflicting information. reasons to stop investigating. Because if the Imperium knew you existed, knew you were still fighting, they'd want to use you, control you, and you can't be controlled. Flynn nodded once. Now you understand. I'm not a lost Primarch waiting to be found. I'm a weapon that was deliberately fired into the warp and forgotten. You found me by accident, by persistence, by luck. But nothing's changed. I'm still doing what I was made to do. He finished packing his weapons and stood. You offered to take me to the Great Rift, to the largest demon manifestation in real space. I accept. I'll kill every demon there. Then you'll bring me back here. And you'll forget you found me. Agreed? I should have said no. Should have insisted on bringing him to Terra, presenting him to the High Lords, revealing the truth about the lost Primarchs. But looking at those burning green eyes, at the certainty in his scarred face, I understood. Flynn wasn't a person anymore. He was purpose incarnated, and trying to change his purpose would be like trying to convince a star not to burn. Agreed, I said. But I need something from you first. Information. You've been fighting demons for 10,000 years in the Eye of Terror itself. You've seen chaos at its source. Tell me, can we win? Can humanity actually defeat the ruinous powers? Flynn was silent for a long moment, his processed breathing the only sound in our protected bubble of reality. When he spoke, his words carried absolute conviction. No, you can't defeat chaos. It's emotion given form. As long as sentient beings feel fear, rage, despair, and desire, the chaos gods exist. Killing demons just sends them back to the warp to reform. Victory is impossible. Despair began to grip my heart until he continued. But victory doesn't matter. What matters is killing them faster than they can reform, hurting them so badly they retreat, making every demon manifestation so costly that they think twice before materializing. You can't win the war, but you can make them regret starting it. That's what I do. Every demon I kill is one that has to spend centuries reforming instead of killing humans. Every greater demon I destroy is a tactical setback for its chaos god. I don't need to win forever. I just need to kill enough of them that humanity survives one more day. He looked at each of us in turn. That's what the Emperor understood when he let me go. One Primarch dedicated to politics and empire building is worth more to the Imperium than one dedicated purely to killing demons. But one Primarch killing demons in the Eye of Terror for eternity is worth more than any number of political victories. He chose the strategic play. I chose the tactical purification. Both are necessary. Sister Magdalene stepped forward and did something that shocked us all. She removed her helmet, exposing her face to Varash 88's corrupted atmosphere, and met Flynn's gaze directly. The Emperor wasn't wrong to let you go, she said, her voice steady despite the risk she was taking. But he wasn't entirely right either. You shouldn't fight alone. Not for 10,000 years. Not forever. Even a weapon needs maintenance, needs support, needs... She struggled for words. Needs to remember what it's fighting for. Flynn stared at her for a moment, then did something I hadn't seen him do. He laughed. It was a harsh sound, processed through his helmet into something almost mechanical, but genuine nonetheless. Sister, I remember exactly what I'm fighting for. Every human soul that isn't possessed. Every child that doesn't grow up in a demon-corrupted hellscape. Every person who lives their entire life without ever knowing demons exist because I killed them all before they manifested. That's what I fight for. Same as you. He reached out with surprising gentleness and placed his gauntlet on her shoulder. But you're right about one thing. A weapon does need maintenance. So take me to your great rift. Let me kill demons where they threaten humanity most. Then bring me back here to continue the work. That's all the support I need. Magdalene replaced her helmet quickly, the camp's psychic wards reinforcing now that the breach was closed. Then we have a mission. Inquisitor? I nodded, already planning the logistics. We'll need to requisition a battle barge at minimum. The Great Rift's largest demon manifestation is currently at the Nashmund Gauntlet. Billions of cultists, hundreds of thousands of demons, led by a Baelacor-class demon prince. It would require 3 full chapters to even attempt assault. Or 1 Primarch who specializes in killing demons, Alaric added. Brother Flynn, I must ask, can you truly eliminate a threat of that magnitude alone? Flynn's response was to draw his shotgun and chamber a round with practiced efficiency. The sound echoed across our camp like a promise. Let's find out. Chapter 3. Rip and Tear. The journey from Vorash 88 to the Nashmund Gauntlet took 3 weeks through the warp, 3 weeks during which Flynn remained in the strike cruiser's cargo hold, alone, refusing all interaction except for daily equipment checks. The ship's crew were terrified of him. The Grey Knights were wary. The Sisters of Battle were uncertain whether to worship him as the Emperor's son or fear him as something beyond their understanding. I spent those weeks reviewing every scrap of data I'd accumulated about the Lost Primarchs, cross-referencing it with Flynn's revelations. The pieces fit together with disturbing clarity. The second Primarch, still unknown, had been erased for different reasons. But the 11th, Flynn had been too effective, too pure, too focused on a single objective to be useful in building an imperium that required compromise, politics, and strategic flexibility. "You're brooding," Brother Captain Alaric observed, finding me in the observation deck watching the warp's madness flow past our Geller field. "Careful, Inquisitor. Brooding leads to doubt. Doubt leads to questions. Questions lead to heresy." "Is it heresy to question why the Emperor erased one of his most loyal sons?" I countered. "Depends who's asking," Alaric replied. "An Inquisitor, that's investigation. A civilian, heresy. A space marine, dangerous precedent." He stood beside me, his ancient armor humming softly. "But I'll answer anyway, because I've been wondering the same thing. The Emperor erased Flynn not as punishment but as release. He created a weapon he couldn't control and chose to aim it at humanity's worst enemy. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. Or desperation, I suggested. Perhaps both." Alaric watched the warp's impossible colors shift and flow. "Do you know what troubles me most about Flynn? It's not his effectiveness or his single-minded purpose. It's that he's happy. Did you notice? He's spent 10,000 years in hell and he's content, because he's doing exactly what he was made to do. How many beings in this galaxy can say that? He had a point. Most space marines fought with grim determination, duty overcoming the horror of eternal war. Flynn fought with something closer to satisfaction. He'd found his purpose and embraced it absolutely. "What happens after the Nashmund Gauntlet?" I asked. "We've promised to return him to the Eye of Terror, but won't the Imperium demand we bring him to Terra? Present him to the High Lords? Use him as propaganda or tactical asset?" "They'll demand," Alaric agreed. "We'll refuse. This mission is classified under my authority as Grey Knight Brother Captain and yours as Ordo Malleus Inquisitor. The Imperium doesn't need to know we found a lost Primarch. They especially don't need to know that Primarch is functionally insane and can't be commanded." "Functionally insane," I repeated. "Is that what we're calling absolute dedication now? When that dedication makes you walk into the Eye of Terror alone for 10 millennia, yes, insane. Also possibly the sanest response to the galaxy's true nature." Alaric's helmet turned toward me. "We live in a universe where literal hell is real, where demons murder trillions, where chaos gods play with human souls like toys." Flynn looked at that reality and said, "I'll kill them all or die trying." That's either profound wisdom or complete madness. Possibly both. The Vox system crackled. "Approaching translation point. Nashmund Gauntlet in 5 minutes. All hands to battle stations." We found Flynn already in the embarkation bay, fully armed, performing final checks on his equipment. He'd added to his arsenal from the ship's armory, a plasma rifle salvaged from a fallen Grey Knight, melter charges, and enough ammunition to supply a full squad. "The plan," I began, but Flynn interrupted. "No plan. I deploy. I kill demons. You extract me when they're all dead." "Brother Flynn," Alaric protested. "The Nashmund Gauntlet hosts billions of cultists and hundreds of thousands of demonic manifestations. A frontal assault is suicide even for a Primarch." "Good thing I'm not planning to die then." Flynn checked his shotgun's mechanism one final time. "You're thinking like Imperial Guard. Establish beachhead, secure supply lines, advance methodically. That's not how you fight demons. You hit them fast, you hit them hard, and you never stop until they're all dead. Tactics are for armies. I'm just one very angry weapon." "At least let us provide orbital support," Magdalene insisted. "Our strike cruiser's weapons could soften the demon concentrations before you deploy." "No, bombardment gives them time to retreat into the warp. I want them committed, thinking they can overwhelm me, staying to fight instead of fleeing. Let them think I'm just one space marine who made a tactical error. Let them commit everything. Then I'll show them what a Primarch who specializes in demon killing actually does." The strike cruiser translated into real space, and our sensors immediately painted the nightmare awaiting us. The Nachmund Gauntlet was a cluster of 73 worlds straddling the Great Rift, the massive warp tear that split the galaxy in half. 41 of those worlds had fallen to chaos corruption. The largest, Nachmund Prime, hosted a demon army of impossible scale. "Emperor's mercy," our tech priest whispered, his mechadendrites trembling as they processed the sensor data. "I'm detecting 3 greater demons, 47 lesser demon princes, and manifestation energy consistent with 273,000 lesser diamonds. Cultist population estimated at 4 billion. Inquisitor, this isn't an invasion force. This is a staging ground for assault on the Imperium itself." "Perfect," Flynn said, and I realized he was smiling behind his helmet. "That's the biggest demon concentration I've seen in 3 centuries. This is going to be satisfying." "This is going to be slaughter," Alaric corrected. "Brother Flynn, with all respect, you cannot possibly eliminate a force of this magnitude alone. Let us summon reinforcements. 3 Grey Knight companies, a Battle Sisters crusade, perhaps." "No." Flynn's voice carried absolute authority, the voice of a Primarch accustomed to being obeyed. "Reinforcements mean coordination, means politics, means someone trying to command me. This is what I do, alone, always alone. Just get me to the surface and I'll handle the rest." I made a decision that would likely end my career or my life, possibly both. Deploy him. Solo drop pod, target coordinates at the daemon army's exact center. We maintain orbital observation only. No interference unless he explicitly requests extraction. "Inquisitor, this is madness," Alaric protested. "Yes," I agreed. "But I want to see what a Primarch designed specifically for demon killing can actually do when there's nothing holding him back. Consider it research for the Ordo Malleus." Flynn was already climbing into the drop pod, his massive frame filling the space designed for standard space marines. "Smart decision, Inquisitor. Now you'll see why the Emperor let me go. Why some wars need weapons that can't be controlled." The drop pod launched. We watched from the observation deck as it plummeted toward Nachmund Prime's surface, descending through an atmosphere that screamed with demonic corruption. Demon flyers swarmed the pod, furies, screamers, winged horrors that would have torn apart a standard drop assault. Flynn's pod didn't even slow. It plowed through them like an Imperial Navy ship through debris, its ancient shields, technology that predated the Imperium itself, simply erasing anything that touched them. Then it hit the demon army's center at terminal velocity. The impact crater was 300 meters wide. The shockwave vaporized 5,000 cultists and banished 700 demons back to the warp through sheer kinetic force. For a moment, there was silence across the battlefield. Then Flynn emerged from the crater, and hell learned fear. "Record everything," I commanded our tech priest. "The Ordo Malleus needs documentation of this." What followed wasn't a battle. It was an extermination. Flynn moved through the demon army like a natural disaster given purpose. His shotgun fired blessed shells that didn't just kill demons. They annihilated their essence, doing permanent damage that would take centuries to heal even in the warp. His arm blades carved through greater demons like they were flesh instead of metaphysical constructs. His gauntlet punched with force that shattered demon princes' manifestation matrices, but it was his movement that truly awed. He didn't fight defensively. didn't establish positions or secure flanks. He just advanced, constantly forward, killing everything within reach while moving toward the next target. Demons that tried to surround him found themselves surrounded instead, his awareness and reflexes allowing him to track and eliminate threats in full spherical attack coverage. "He's been fighting in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years, Magdalene whispered, watching the slaughter through our observation screens. "He's fought every demon type that exists, learned every tactic, developed counters to every strategy. He's not just experienced, he's evolved into something perfectly designed to kill them. A bloodthirster of Khorne, a greater demon standing 12 meters tall with strength that could tear apart battle tanks, manifested directly in Flynn's path. The demon raised its axe, channeling Khorne's fury into a blow that could cleave a land raider in half. Flynn caught the axe. His gauntleted hand seized the demon weapon's haft mid-swing, stopping the blow completely. The bloodthirster roared in confusion. Nothing should have been able to halt its attack. Nothing physical could match a greater demon's strength. Flynn wasn't matching it. He was exceeding it. With his other hand, he drove his arm blade through the bloodthirster's chest, then dragged it down, splitting the demon from sternum to groin. The greater demon's manifestation collapsed, its essence too damaged to maintain coherence. "Throne of Terror," Alaric breathed. He just killed a greater demon in single combat, in 7 seconds. How many has he killed over 10,000 years? I wondered aloud. How many greater demons, demon princes, lesser demons? Millions? Tens of millions? And every kill teaches him something new, makes him more efficient, more lethal. The battle, if it could be called that, continued for 6 hours. We watched through orbital sensors as Flynn systematically eliminated every daemon on Nachmund Prime. He adapted to each daemon type, used area effect weapons against swarms, precision strikes against greater demons, sustained fire against demon princes attempting to maintain range. And he never slowed, never showed fatigue, never retreated even when outnumbered 10,000 to 1. "His armor," the tech priest said suddenly. "I'm detecting anomalous energy readings. It's feeding on the demons he kills, converting their essence into power for his systems. Emperor, preserve us. His armor is powered by demon death itself." "Hair-tech," Alaric muttered, but there was awe in his voice rather than condemnation. "Technology that uses chaos as fuel. That should corrupt him, possess him, turn him into a demon himself. Unless he's so absolutely dedicated to killing demons that even using their essence as fuel doesn't corrupt him," I suggested. "His purpose is so pure, so focused, that chaos can't find purchase. He's not resisting corruption. He's immune to it because there's nothing in him except demon-killing fury." Sister Magdalene made the sign of the Aquila. "The Emperor's ultimate weapon against hell. A son so dedicated to purification that hell itself fuels his crusade. That's either the greatest miracle in Imperial history or the most dangerous heresy imaginable." "Why not both?" I replied. Chapter 4. The Emperor's Fury. 3 years after we left Flynn in the Eye of Terror, the Cicatrix Maledictum, the Great Rift, expanded by 17%. Demon incursions across the Imperium increased by 43%. Chaos warbands that should have been contained broke through Imperial defenses with impossible frequency. The Imperium was losing ground faster than at any point since the heresy. I was conducting standard inquisitorial investigations on the hive world of Meridian when the reports started coming in. Contradictory reports, impossible reports. Demon armies vanished overnight with no Imperial forces engaging them. Chaos warbands found slaughtered, every cultist executed with brutal efficiency. Demon princes banished so thoroughly their essence signatures disappeared from our augurs entirely. And at every site, crater, impacts consistent with drop pod deployment. Ammunition casings from weapons that didn't match any Imperial pattern. And one witness account from a traumatized guardsman that mentioned a green angel who walked through demons like they were smoke. Flynn had left the Eye of Terror. I immediately contacted Brother Captain Alaric, who had been hunting a demon incursion in the Segmentum Obscurus. His response was terse. "I've seen similar reports. 17 demon elimination incidents in 3 months, all bearing Flynn's signature tactics. He's hunting, something big is manifesting, and he's positioning himself to intercept it. Do we intervene? How? We don't know where he is, where he's going, or what he's tracking. We let him work. That's what he does." But I couldn't let it go. I'd spent my career investigating the Lost Primarchs, and now one was active in Imperial space, leaving a trail of demon corpses across multiple sectors. I had to understand. I compiled every report, every sighting, every anomalous daemon elimination. I plotted them on star charts, looking for patterns, and slowly, horrifyingly, I saw what Flynn was tracking. All the daemon eliminations formed a perimeter, a containment zone around a cluster of 17 worlds in the Segmentum Ultima, and at the center of that cluster, Talassar, homeworld of the Ultramarines. Something was targeting Flynn's brother's legacy. I requisitioned an inquisitorial cruiser and made best speed to Talassar, arriving 6 days later to find the system in full military alert. The Ultramarines had detected massive warp disturbances approaching their homeworld. Estimates suggested a demon army numbering in the tens of millions, led by something so powerful our augurs couldn't classify it. I presented my credentials and demanded audience with the chapter master. What I got instead was Captain Uriel Ventris of the 4th Company, a veteran with sharp eyes and a reputation for unconventional thinking. "Inquisitor Covenant," he greeted me in a strategy chamber surrounded by hololithic displays showing the approaching demon threat. "Your timing is remarkably poor. We're preparing to defend Talassar against the largest demon incursion in our chapter's history. If you're here to conduct investigations, they'll have to wait." "I'm here because of something you need to know," I said, and made the decision that would likely end my career. 3 years ago, I found one of the Lost Primarchs, the 11th, a warrior who calls himself the Doomslayer. He's been killing demons in the Eye of Terror for 10,000 years, and now he's here, in Imperial space, eliminating demon forces that are trying to reach Talassar. Ventris's expression didn't change, but I saw his hand move subtly to his bolt pistol. "The Lost Primarchs are forbidden topics, Inquisitor. Discussing them is borderline heresy." "Listening to me might save your chapter," I countered. "The demon eliminations across 17 worlds surrounding Talassar, that's Flynn preparing the battlefield. He's eliminating advanced forces, cutting supply lines, preventing the demon army from receiving reinforcements. He's doing what he always does, positioning himself for maximum demon killing efficiency." I activated my data slate, showing the compiled reports. "Look at the tactical pattern. Every elimination strikes at demon command structures, logistics, or communication. This isn't random violence, this is surgical preparation. Someone with Primarch-level strategic intelligence is setting up for the battle to come." Ventris studied the data in silence. Finally, "If what you're saying is true, and I'm not confirming I believe you, why would a Lost Primarch care about Talassar? If he's been killing demons for 10 millennia, why help us now?" "Because Talassar is Roboute Guilliman's legacy," I explained. "Your Primarch was one of Flynn's brothers, and according to what Flynn told me, despite their tactical disagreements, there was respect. If demons are targeting the Ultramarines specifically, Flynn would consider that a personal insult worthy of response." Before Ventris could answer, alarms blared throughout the fortress monastery. A battle brother burst into the strategy chamber, his armor scorched and his eyes wide with something between fear and awe. "Captain, the daemon army has translated into real space at the system's edge. Numbers exceed 50 million entities. 3 greater demons confirmed. And..." He hesitated. "There's something else. A drop pod. Unidentified signature. It launched from empty space and is descending toward the demon fleet's flagship." Ventris and I exchanged glances. "Show me," he commanded. The hololithic display shifted to show the demon fleet, a nightmare armada of possessed ships and warp-spawned vessels that shouldn't exist in real space. At their center, a massive ship that pulsed with chaos energy, clearly the command vessel. and descending toward it, a single drop pod, ancient design, broadcasting an Imperial authentication code that dated to the Great Crusade. "That's him," I said with absolute certainty. "Flynn. He's going after their leadership first. Standard demon elimination doctrine. Cut the head off the snake and the body thrashes without direction. One warrior against 50 million demons." Ventress's voice carried disbelief. "Even a Primarch can't—" The drop pod struck the demon flagship's hull, and the vessel's reactor detonated 3 seconds later. The explosion vaporized 17 escort ships and banished an estimated 200,000 demons back to the warp in the backwash of unleashed energy. The strategy chamber fell silent. "Emperor's mercy," Ventress whispered. "He destroyed their flagship in one strike." "No," I corrected, watching the sensor readings. "He boarded it, fought to the reactor core, and overloaded it while still inside. Look, there's his signal, ejecting in an escape pod moments before detonation. He knew exactly how long he had." The demon fleet was in chaos now. Their command structure shattered, their coordination broken. But they were still millions strong, still advancing on Talassar with implacable momentum. The destruction of their flagship had cost them leadership, not numbers. Then the second signal appeared on our sensors. Another drop pod, launching from the debris field of the destroyed flagship, targeting the demon fleet's new command vessel, a possessed battlecruiser that had assumed leadership of the invasion. "He's not stopping," Ventress observed. "He's going to assault every command ship until they have no leadership left." "That's exactly what he's doing," I confirmed. "Flynn doesn't fight armies directly. He fights command structures. He understands that demons, despite being warp entities, still require coordination to be effective. Destroy their ability to coordinate, and they become just a disorganized mob. Dangerous, but manageable." Over the next 3 hours, we watched Flynn systematically dismantle the Daemon fleet's command hierarchy. 7 capital ships destroyed, 12 demon princes banished, 2 greater demons damaged so severely they retreated into the warp to regenerate. But the demon army was still advancing, still numbering in the tens of millions. Even disorganized, they would overwhelm Talassa's defenses through sheer attrition. Then Flynn's Vox signal connected to the Ultramarines' command frequency. His processed voice filled the strategy chamber. "Ultramarines, this is Flynn, Primarch of the Lost 11th Legion. Your homeworld is under demon assault. I've eliminated their command structure. They're disorganized. Now they're yours. Show them why Roboute Guilliman's sons are the Imperium's finest. Make your father proud." Ventress stood straighter, his eyes burning with sudden inspiration. "All companies, prepare for full deployment. The enemy is leaderless and vulnerable. We strike with overwhelming force and perfect coordination, exactly as the Codex Astartes dictates for exploiting disorganized opposition." The Ultramarines launched from Talassar in force. 5 full companies supported by fleet assets and Titan legions from the local Forge world. What followed was a masterclass in space marine warfare. Perfectly coordinated strikes against an enemy that couldn't coordinate responses, systematic elimination of demon concentrations, and textbook application of Guilliman's tactical doctrines. Flynn didn't join the main battle. Instead, he continued hunting the largest demon concentrations, drawing them away from the Ultramarines' advance, forcing the demon army to fight on 2 fronts simultaneously. Every time the demons tried to reform their command structure, Flynn appeared and eliminated it. The battle for Talassar lasted 17 hours. When it ended, 47 million demons had been banished back to the warp. The Ultramarines had suffered 12% casualties. Tragic, but far below projections for facing an enemy of that magnitude, and Flynn was gone. His signal had disappeared during the final stages of the battle. No extraction observed, no communication sent. He'd simply vanished as mysteriously as he'd appeared. Captain Ventress found me in the aftermath, both of us standing among the ruins of Talassar's outer defenses where demon corpses were still dissolving into psychic residue. "I have questions, Inquisitor," he said quietly. "Many questions. Starting with, Was that truly a lost Primarch? One of the Emperor's sons? Yes, I confirmed. The 11th, erased from records not for heresy or failure, but because he was too effective, too focused, too dangerous to keep in the Imperium. And he helped us, saved Talassar, defeated an army that should have killed us all. Ventress's scarred face showed confusion. Why? If he's been fighting alone for 10,000 years, why intervene now? Because this demon army specifically targeted Talassar, I explained. Someone in the warp wanted to destroy Roboute Guilliman's legacy. Flynn took that personally. Despite their disagreements during the Crusade, Guilliman was still his brother, and Flynn protects what his brothers built. Ventress absorbed this, then asked the question I'd been dreading. Does the chapter need to know? Should we record this in our histories? Inform the chapter master. Report to Terra. I met his gaze steadily. Captain, Flynn was erased from Imperial records by the Emperor himself. That erasure wasn't punishment. It was protection. Protection for Flynn to do what he does best without interference. And protection for the Imperium from a weapon they can't control. If you report this, if Terra learns a lost Primarch still lives and fights, they'll try to find him, try to use him, try to command him. And they'll fail, because Flynn only answers to one voice, the Emperor's, and the Emperor is silent on his golden throne. So we forget this happened, Ventress said slowly. Officially, Talassar was saved by the Ultramarines' tactical excellence and the Emperor's providence. Exactly, but unofficially. I placed a hand on his shoulder guard. You and your brothers know the truth. Somewhere in the galaxy, one of your Primarch's brothers is still fighting, still protecting humanity, still killing demons by the million. And when hell threatens what the Emperor's sons built, that brother comes home. Ventress was silent for a long moment, his eyes distant. Finally, the Codex Astartes teaches that we honor our brothers through action, not words. If Flynn chooses to fight alone and unnamed, then we honor that choice by protecting his secret. But we'll remember. Every Ultramarine who survived this battle will remember that we were saved by the Emperor's grace. In the form of a brother we're forbidden to acknowledge. He raised his fist in salute, not the formal Ultramarine salute, but something older, something that dated to the Great Crusade. Thank you, Inquisitor, for telling us the truth, for letting us know we're not alone. I returned the salute. You were never alone, Captain. You just didn't know where to look for family. 3 days later, I received an encrypted message on a frequency that shouldn't exist. Imperial authentication codes from the Great Crusade era, transmitted through methods that predated current technology by 10 millennia. The message was brief. Good work, Inquisitor. You kept your word. I kept mine. We're even. I deleted the message immediately, but not before noticing something odd. The transmission had originated from the Eye of Terror. Flynn had returned to Hell, back to his eternal war, as quickly and quietly as he'd left. But I knew, we all knew now, that if Hell threatened the Imperium again, the Doomslayer would come. Not as a hero seeking glory, not as a Primarch demanding recognition, just as a weapon activating when needed, then returning to storage when the threat was eliminated, exactly as the Emperor had intended. Chapter 5. Brothers Reunited. I thought I'd seen the last of Flynn after Talassar. I was wrong. 6 months later, something impossible happened. Roboute Guilliman returned. The Primarch of the Ultramarines, dead for 10,000 years, was resurrected by Eldar sorcery and Imperial faith. He immediately assumed command of the Imperium Nihilus campaign, pushing back Chaos forces with strategic genius that hadn't been seen since the Great Crusade. And then reports started coming in of a second figure, armored in green, impossibly strong, appearing wherever demon resistance was fiercest, always fighting, never speaking, vanishing before Imperial forces could identify him. Guilliman was searching for something, or someone. I was attached to the Primarch's personal fleet as an inquisitorial observer. My expertise on demon threats made me useful, despite my controversial investigations. I watched Guilliman coordinate campaigns across 17 sectors simultaneously, his tactical genius transforming desperate defense into strategic offense. But I also watched him study reports of the green armored figure with an intensity that suggested personal interest rather than tactical curiosity. Finally, after a particularly brutal battle against a word-bearer warband, Guilliman summoned me to his private strategium. The Primarch stood before a tactical display, but his attention was on a data slate showing the mysterious warrior's sightings. "Inquisitor Covenant," he said without turning, his voice carrying the authority of 10,000 years. "You've investigated the Lost Primarchs more thoroughly than any living human. I've read your sealed reports, all of them, despite the classification. Tell me, is my brother alive? I should have lied, should have deflected, should have protected Flynn's anonymity, but you don't lie to Roboute Guilliman." "Yes, my lord," I confirmed. "The 11th lives. He's been fighting demons in the Eye of Terror for 10 millennia. He's the warrior your forces keep encountering, the one who appears wherever demon resistance is strongest." Guilliman finally turned to face me. His expression was complex: relief, sorrow, guilt, and something that might have been hope. "Flynn, he's still fighting after all this time, still doing what he was made to do. You knew what happened to him," I realized. "You knew the Emperor sent him into the Eye." "I was there when Father made the decision," Guilliman admitted, his voice heavy with ancient grief. "After Flynn refused to stop purifying Caldera Infernus, after he made it clear he would hunt demons until they were all dead or he was, Father gave him a choice: submit to Imperial authority and fight the Imperium's broader wars, or walk into the Eye of Terror and fight his war alone." The Primarch moved to the Strategium's viewport, looking out at the stars. "Flynn chose the Eye without hesitation, said politics and empire building were distractions from the only war that mattered. Father let him go, erased his records, told us never to speak of him again. And we obeyed, because we understood. Some weapons are too dangerous to keep in the armory. Better to aim them at the enemy and step back." "But now you want to find him," I said. "I need to," Guilliman corrected. "When I died, when I spent 10,000 years in stasis, I had time to think, to regret, to understand all the mistakes I made during the Crusade. And one of my greatest mistakes was not supporting Flynn when he needed it. I called his tactics excessive, called him obsessed. I didn't understand that his obsession was actually perfect clarity. He saw the true enemy while the rest of us were distracted by politics and glory. He turned back to me, and I saw genuine pain in the Lord of Ultramar's eyes. I need to tell him I was wrong, that he was right, that the galaxy would be better off if we'd all been as focused on killing demons as he was. Can you arrange a meeting?" "My lord, with respect, Flynn doesn't do meetings. He does demon elimination. If you want to see him, you'll need to be where the demons are." Guilliman smiled, a grim expression that carried echoes of his ancient warrior self. "Then we'll arrange for demons to be somewhere convenient. Inquisitor, I'm ordering a deliberate assault on the demon world of Madrax. High demon concentration, strategically valuable, and most importantly, the kind of target Flynn won't be able to ignore. When he arrives, I'll be there to meet him. He might not want a reunion," I warned. "He's been alone for 10,000 years by choice. Bringing him back into Imperial politics, even with the best intentions, might be exactly what he's been avoiding." "Then I'll give him the choice," Guilliman said. "The same choice Father gave him. Stay alone or rejoin his family. But this time, his family will understand what he's fighting for. This time, we'll support him instead of judging him." 3 weeks later, the Imperium launched a massive assault on Madrax, a demon world that had been corrupted for 5,000 years, hosting millions of demons and several greater demon princes. Guilliman personally led the assault, commanding 3 full Space Marine chapters and supporting Imperial Guard regiments. And as predicted, Flynn came. He appeared on the 3rd day of the assault, when the fighting was fiercest and demon resistance was concentrated around their primary temple fortress. A drop pod crashed through the temple's roof and green armored fury emerged. I watched through vid feeds as Flynn carved through demons with the efficiency of 10 millennia's practice. His tactics were perfection. Every movement economical, every shot precise, every kill flowing into the next without wasted motion. He'd evolved beyond mere skill into something approaching art. Guilliman watched the same feeds in silence, his expression unreadable. "He fights like me," the Lord of Ultramar finally said. "Same tactical precision, same efficient movement, but with a single-mindedness I never achieved. He's what I could have been if I'd focused on only one objective for 10,000 years." "Should we send support?" one of Guilliman's commanders asked. "No," Guilliman replied. "Let him work. When he's finished clearing the temple, I'll meet him personally, alone." Flynn eliminated every demon in the temple complex in 47 minutes. When the last greater demon fell, he stood among the corpses and began his post-battle maintenance routine, reloading weapons, checking armor systems, preparing for the next engagement. That's when Guilliman walked in. The Lord of Ultramar entered the temple alone, unarmed except for the Emperor's sword at his side. He stopped 10 meters from Flynn and waited. Flynn turned, his helmet's sensors identifying the new arrival. For a long moment, the two Primarchs, one resurrected to lead the Imperium, one erased to kill demons, simply stared at each other across a chamber filled with demon corpses. Then Flynn spoke, his processed voice carrying a complex mixture of emotions. "Roboute, you're alive." "So are you, brother," Guilliman replied softly, "though I had to search the galaxy to find you. I wasn't lost. I knew exactly where I was." Flynn's hand moved toward his weapon, then stopped. "Why are you here? If you're going to order me back to Terra to stand trial for abandoning the Imperium, save your breath. I'm not coming." "I'm not here to give orders," Guilliman said, taking a careful step forward. "I'm here to apologize. You were right, Flynn. About everything. About demons being the true enemy. About politics being a distraction. About the only victory that matters being demon elimination. I didn't see it 10,000 years ago. I was too focused on building the perfect Imperium to understand you were fighting the only war that truly mattered." Flynn's helmet tilted slightly. "You're apologizing." Roboute Guilliman, master strategist, author of the Codex Astartes, is apologizing to his obsessed brother who couldn't follow orders. "Yes," Guilliman confirmed, "because that obsessed brother has killed more demons in 10,000 years than the entire Imperium has managed. Because that brother who couldn't follow orders was following a higher imperative, the Emperor's true purpose. You saw clearly while the rest of us were blind." He gestured to the demon corpses surrounding them. "Look at this. You cleared this entire temple complex alone in less than an hour. It would have taken my forces 3 days and cost hundreds of lives. You've refined demon killing into pure efficiency. You've become what all Space Marines should aspire to be, perfectly dedicated to defending humanity from its worst enemy." Flynn was silent for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was quieter. "You're saying this because you want something. You always want something, Roboute. That's who you are, the strategist who sees every conversation as a negotiation." "You're not wrong," Guilliman admitted. "I want you to know you're not forgotten, that your brothers, those of us who survived, respect what you're doing, that the Imperium might not officially acknowledge you, but we know, we understand, and we're grateful. Gratitude doesn't kill demons. No, but cooperation might." Guilliman moved closer, his posture non-threatening. "I'm not asking you to rejoin the Imperium. I'm not asking you to take command or follow orders. I'm asking if, occasionally, when demon threats are too large for standard Imperial forces to handle, you'd be willing to coordinate with us. Not as a subordinate, as an equal, as my brother." Flynn studied Guilliman with those burning green eyes. "Coordinate how?" "Intelligence sharing. If we detect major demon manifestations, we inform you. If you're hunting specific targets, you inform us so we can provide support. Not command you, just support. You maintain complete operational autonomy. You keep doing what you do. We just make it easier by giving you better intelligence and removing obstacles. And in exchange, nothing, Guilliman said firmly. You owe the Imperium nothing, Flynn. You've paid your dues 1,000,000 times over. This isn't a transaction. It's family helping family. I'm offering resources, intelligence, and respect. I'm asking only that you don't vanish completely. Let me know you're alive occasionally. Let your brothers know the Emperor's fury still burns. Flynn was silent so long, I thought he would refuse. Then, slowly, he reached up and disengaged his helmet's seals. The face beneath was even more scarred than I remembered. 10,000 years of warfare had left their mark, but still recognizably human. Still recognizably a Primarch. I'll consider it, Flynn said, his voice unprocessed and surprisingly soft. But understand, I won't compromise my mission. I won't slow down to accommodate political concerns. I won't stop hunting demons because it's inconvenient for Imperial strategy. If you can accept that, then we can talk about cooperation. I accept completely, Guilliman said, and the relief in his voice was genuine. All I ask is that you remember you have family, brothers who respect what you do, even if we can't do it ourselves. When you're ready to talk, to coordinate, to even just confirm you're alive, we'll be here. He extended his hand, not as a lord to a subordinate, but as a brother to an equal. Flynn looked at the offered hand for a moment, then grasped it in the warrior's grip that dated to the Great Crusade. You always were good with words, Roboute, Flynn said, and there might have been the ghost of a smile on his scarred face. Fine. Tell your Inquisitor to establish a secure channel. When I find something too big for me to handle alone, unlikely but possible, I'll call. When you find demon concentrations that need special attention, you can inform me. But we're clear. I don't follow orders. I hunt demons. That's all I do. That's all I'll ever do. Understood and accepted, brother, Guilliman replied. They stood there for a moment. Two of the Emperor's sons, reunited after 10,000 years, surrounded by the corpses of humanity's worst enemy. Then Flynn replaced his helmet, the moment of vulnerability passing. I have work to do, he said, his processed voice returning. 3 more demon strongholds on this world. Then reports of a demon prince in the Ultima Segmentum that needs killing. After that, back to the eye. Always more demons. Before you go, Guilliman said, I need to know, are you happy, Flynn? Is this existence, eternal war, no rest, no peace, truly what you want? Flynn's answer was immediate. I'm doing exactly what I was made to do, Roboute. That's more than most beings in this galaxy can say. Happy? I don't know. Satisfied? Absolutely. Every demon I kill is one that can't hurt humans. That's enough. He walked toward the temple's exit, then paused. You're doing good work, brother. Leading the Imperium, fighting the broader war. Keep doing that. Let me handle the demons. Between us, maybe we actually have a chance. Then he was gone, launching himself toward the next battlefield with his eternal fury as fuel. Guilliman watched him go, his expression complex. He's right, you know, he said to me, not turning around. Between us, we might actually have a chance. He fights the war in hell. I fight the war in the materium. 2 brothers, 2 wars, 1 purpose, humanity's survival. Will he actually cooperate? I asked. In his own way, yes. Flynn doesn't lie or manipulate. If he says he'll consider coordination, he will. It won't be easy or comfortable, but we'll make it work. Guilliman finally turned to face me. Because the alternative is what we had before. 2 sons of the Emperor fighting the same war separately, neither fully effective because we lacked the other's strengths. That ends now. He smiled, the first genuine smile I'd seen from the Lord of Ultramar. My brother lives. He fights. And now we can support him. That's a victory worth celebrating, Inquisitor. I had to agree. Chapter 6. The Weapon Remembers. The coordination between Guilliman's forces and Flynn became a careful dance over the following years. Flynn maintained his independence absolutely. He refused formal command structure, declined to attend strategic meetings, and never explained his tactics or objectives in advance. But he did accept intelligence reports about major demon manifestations and occasionally transmitted brief updates on his activities. These updates were unusual. Cleared demon nest on Vorgan Thrur. 47,000 entities eliminated. Moving to the Mordax sector. Effie. Demon Prince Karshul the Undying is now just dead. Turns out immortality has exceptions. F. Your intelligence on the Black Legion summoning was accurate. Interrupted ritual. Killed summoner. Demon couldn't fully manifest. Problem solved. F. Each message was brief, efficient, and carried Flynn's distinctive lack of interest in elaboration. But they revealed a pattern. He was moving through the galaxy systematically, responding to the largest demon threats with ruthless efficiency. I remained Guilliman's advisor on demon-related threats, which meant I often drafted the intelligence reports Flynn received. It also meant I was one of the few people who understood the true scale of what he was accomplishing. In 3 years of coordinated operations, Flynn eliminated an estimated 17 million demons across 43 worlds. He banished 9 greater demons permanently, disrupted 173 summoning rituals, and killed 47 demon princes who'd led chaos incursions for centuries. The Imperium's demon-related casualties dropped by 31% in sectors where Flynn operated. But there was a cost. Flynn never rested, never slowed, never showed any sign that 10,000 years of continuous warfare was taking a toll. But the reports from Imperial forces who encountered him told a different story. His armor was more damaged, repaired with increasingly improvised materials. His movements, while still superhuman, showed the efficient economy of someone managing injury. His communications became even briefer, as if human language was becoming increasingly foreign. He was burning out. Not failing, still devastatingly effective, but wearing down in ways even Primarch biology couldn't fully compensate for. I brought my concerns to Guilliman 6 months after the brothers' reunion. My lord, Flynn's combat efficiency remains high, but indicators suggest he's sustaining cumulative damage. He needs proper medical attention, equipment replacement, and ideally some period of recovery. Guilliman studied the reports I'd compiled, his expression grave. He'll refuse medical attention, he'll refuse recovery time, suggest either, and he'll stop communicating entirely. Then we need to be subtle, I suggested. Arrange for him to encounter abandoned supply caches containing compatible equipment. Position Medicus servitors in his operational areas disguised as standard Imperial resources. Support without appearing to support. You're suggesting we manipulate my brother, Guilliman said, but there was no anger in his voice, only weary acceptance. He'll see through it immediately. Probably, but he might accept help if it doesn't interfere with his mission. The question is whether his pride will allow it. The answer came 3 weeks later, transmitted on Flynn's secure channel. Found your supply cache on Xerxes Prime. Subtle. I'm not an idiot, Roboute. But I needed the ammunition, so I'm taking it. Don't make a habit of this. F. Guilliman smiled when he read the message. He accepted help. That's progress. But I wasn't sure progress was the right word. Flynn accepting resources suggested he was running low, that 10,000 years of fighting had finally depleted even his considerable reserves. It was pragmatism, not progress. The real test came 4 months later when Flynn transmitted an unprecedented message. Need assistance. Demon manifestation on Calth. Big, really big. Might be beyond solo operation. F. Calth. The word carried weight for any Ultramarine. It was where their chapter had nearly been destroyed during the heresy, betrayed by the word-bearers and left to die on a demon-infested world. For Flynn to request assistance there, of all places, suggested something catastrophic. Guilliman mobilized immediately, taking 4 companies of Ultramarines and supporting forces to Calth within 36 hours. What we found there defied belief. The underground cities of Calth, rebuilt after the heresy's devastation, were under assault by a demon army numbering in the hundreds of millions. Not an exaggeration. Hundreds of millions. Every demon that had ever been banished from Calth during the heresy had returned simultaneously, their combined rage focused on finally destroying the world that had survived them. And standing alone at the primary hive entrance was Flynn, holding the line against a tide of demons that should have overwhelmed him instantly. He'd been fighting for 72 hours straight when we arrived. His armor was shattered in places, held together by improvised repairs and sheer will. His weapons were nearly depleted, ammunition counters showing single-digit percentages. His movements, while still lethal, showed exhaustion. Even Primarch physiology struggled to overcome. But he hadn't retreated, hadn't fallen, hadn't allowed a single demon past his position into the hive where millions of civilians sheltered. "Guilliman," Flynn's voice crackled over Vox, processed and distorted by damage to his helmet systems. "About time. I've been busy." "I can see that, brother," Guilliman replied, his voice tight with concern and pride. "Fall back. Let us establish defensive positions and—" "No time. They're preparing something big. Some kind of ritual that will tear Calth into the warp permanently. I need you to find the ritual site and destroy it. I'll hold here. Keep them focused on me. Flynn, you can barely stand. Let us relieve you while—" "Not negotiable." Flynn's voice cracked with fury, not at Guilliman but at the suggestion he'd abandon his position. "These demons destroyed Calth once. They killed Ultramarines. They tried to erase your father's legacy. I won't let them past me. Not while I can still pull a trigger. Now go find that ritual site and end this." It was the most words I'd heard Flynn string together since meeting him, and they revealed the truth. This wasn't just about killing demons. This was personal. The Wordbearers had betrayed his brother's legion, corrupted their sacred world, and now their demon allies were trying to finish what they'd started 10,000 years ago. Flynn was taking it personally. Guilliman made a decision that went against every tactical instinct. "Acknowledged, brother. We'll find the ritual site. You hold the line. But Flynn," his voice softened, "don't you dare die here. That's an order from your older brother." Flynn's laugh was harsh, processed into something almost mechanical. "Orders? You never could resist giving orders, Roboute. Fine, I won't die. Too many demons left to kill for that. Now go." We went. The Ultramarines split into specialized task forces, each searching Calth's underground networks for the ritual site, while Flynn held the primary entrance against impossible odds. I watched through tactical feeds as he fought, no longer the perfect efficiency I'd observed before, but raw determination fueled by rage and will. He was fighting on memory now, movements refined by 10,000 years repeating automatically, even as his body failed. Each demon he killed seemed to take more effort, each reload of his weapon slower, each step heavier. But he didn't fall. We found the ritual site 4 hours later, a massive chamber in Calth's deepest levels where word-bearer sorcerers and their demon allies were channeling enough warp energy to tear the planet into the Eye of Terror. Guilliman led the assault personally, his Emperor's sword cutting through demonic defenses, while his Ultramarines eliminated the sorcerers with tactical precision. When the ritual was disrupted, when the warp energy destabilized and collapsed, the demon army on Calth's surface lost cohesion. Without the ritual binding them to real space, they began dissipating, banishing back to the warp in waves. We returned to Flynn's position to find him still standing, surrounded by demon corpses piled so high they formed walls, his armor sparking and failing, his weapons empty, using his gauntlets to literally punch any demon that came within reach. When the last demon faded, Flynn finally allowed himself to collapse. Guilliman reached him first, catching his brother before he hit the ground. "Medical team now," he commanded, lowering Flynn carefully. "I'm fine," Flynn mumbled, his voice unprocessed now. His helmet systems had finally failed. "Just need ammunition reload, then back to work." "You need medical attention and rest," Guilliman said firmly. "You've been fighting for 76 consecutive hours against impossible odds. Even Primarchs have limits, Flynn. Demons don't rest. Can't rest while they exist. The demons on Calth are gone. You won. Your Legion's honor is defended. Roboute Guilliman's legacy is protected. You can rest now. Flynn's eyes focused on Guilliman with difficulty. Promise me. Promise when I wake up, you'll tell me where the next demon concentration is. Promise I can keep fighting. I promise, Guilliman said, and there were tears in the Lord of Ultramar's eyes. Tears for a brother so dedicated to his purpose that even near death couldn't make him stop. When you wake, I'll have a dozen targets for you. But first you rest. Please, Flynn, let us help you. Flynn's eyes closed. Okay, but just for a bit. Demons are still out there. He lost consciousness then, his body finally surrendering to exhaustion and injury that would have killed any other being 100 times over. The Ultramarines Apothecarian worked on Flynn for 9 days straight, repairing damage that had accumulated over millennia, shattered ribs that had healed incorrectly, neural trauma from continuous combat stress, armor systems that were literally held together by demon ichor and stubbornness. When he finally woke, Guilliman was there. How long was I out? Flynn asked immediately. 9 days. Too long. Need to get back to Flynn. Guilliman's voice carried command authority that even a fellow Primarch couldn't entirely ignore. We need to talk about what you're doing, about the cost. Flynn sat up despite the Apothecarian's protests, his Primarch physiology already accelerating healing beyond normal. I know what I'm doing. I know the cost. Still worth it. Is it? Guilliman challenged. You've been fighting for 10,000 years without rest. You've killed millions of demons, maybe tens of millions. But you're wearing down, Flynn. Eventually, even you will fail. And when you do, all that knowledge, all that experience, all that demon-killing expertise dies with you. Wouldn't it be better to... To what? Flynn interrupted. Train others. Share my methods. Roboute, I've tried. Spent the first 1,000 years trying to teach other Space Marines how to fight like me. Want to know what happened? They all died. Because demon killing at this level requires more than training. It requires obsession, requires being willing to sacrifice everything. Sanity, connection to humanity, any life outside killing for the mission. I can do that because the Emperor made me this way. Normal Space Marines can't. They have chapters, brothers, purposes beyond just demon elimination. I don't. I'm a weapon, and weapons don't need lives outside their function. He stood, testing his repaired body. So yes, eventually I'll fail. Eventually a daemon will be faster or stronger or luckier, and I'll die. But until that moment, I keep fighting, keep killing, keep buying humanity time. That's my function, that's my choice, and I'm at peace with it. Guilliman looked at his brother, this warrior who'd spent 10 millennia alone in hell, who'd sacrificed everything for a purpose most beings couldn't even comprehend, and finally understood. Flynn wasn't suffering, wasn't a victim, wasn't a tragedy. He was exactly what he chose to be. The Emperor's fury incarnate, eternal and unstoppable, pointed at humanity's worst enemy. Then let me support you better, Guilliman said. Better equipment, better intelligence, better medical care when needed. Not to control you, to keep you fighting longer, to make your weapon self more effective. Flynn considered this. Acceptable. But on one condition. When I fail, when I finally fall, you let me stay fallen. No resurrection, no preservation. Just let the weapon break when it's done. Agreed? No, Guilliman said firmly. But I'll respect your wishes if that time comes. Until then, you keep fighting, and I'll keep supporting you. Deal? Flynn extended his hand, the same warrior's grip they'd shared on Madrax. Deal. Now tell me about those dozen targets you promised. Guilliman smiled, eager to return to work. Roboute, I've wasted 9 days sleeping while demons exist. Yes, I'm eager to return to work, and so the pattern was established. Flynn would fight alone, burning through the galaxy's demon populations with relentless efficiency. When he needed support, Guilliman would provide it. No questions, no conditions, just resources and intelligence. And occasionally, when the battles were too large even for Flynn, the brothers would fight together, combining Guilliman's strategic genius with Flynn's demon-killing mastery. It wasn't a perfect arrangement. Flynn still refused to fully rejoin Imperial society, still vanished for months at a time into the Eye of Terror, still communicated in terse mission updates that revealed nothing personal. But it was enough. The weapon remembered it had a family, and the family remembered to maintain their weapon. Chapter 7. Legacy of Fury. 5 years after Flynn and Guilliman's reunion, I was promoted to Lord Inquisitor, partly for my demon expertise, partly for my successful management of the Flynn situation, as it became known among the Inquisition's highest ranks. The Lost Primarch was no longer lost, but his existence remained one of the Imperium's most closely guarded secrets. Only 17 people knew the full truth. Guilliman, me, Brother Captain Alaric, a handful of high-ranking Ultramarines, and the few tech priests cleared to maintain Flynn's equipment. To everyone else, the mysterious demon eliminations were attributed to Imperial Special Operations or the Emperor's Providence, but word spreads, even among secrets. Rumors began circulating in the Astra Militarum about a green angel who appeared when demon threats were worst. Space Marine chapters that had encountered Flynn developed quiet traditions, shrines to the unknown brother who walked hell alone. The ecclesiarchy whispered about a saint who embodied the Emperor's wrath. Flynn, characteristically, didn't care about his growing legend. He just kept killing demons. I was reviewing intelligence reports in my inquisitorial fortress when an urgent Vox transmission arrived. Priority Alpha, encrypted with Primarch-level codes. Guilliman's voice came through, tight with concern. Covenant, we have a situation. Flynn has gone dark. No communications for 17 days. His last known position was the Pandorax system, a demon world he was investigating for a possible greater demon manifestation. I need you to lead a recovery team. If he's been captured or corrupted, he didn't finish the sentence. We both knew what it would mean if Flynn, the Imperium's most effective demon killer, had fallen to chaos. The irony would be devastating. The weapon designed to kill demons, finally corrupted by the very enemy he'd fought for 10 millennia. I assembled a team within hours. Alaric and his Grey Knights, now veteran warriors who'd fought alongside Flynn multiple times. Sister Magdalene, whose faith had somehow earned Flynn's grudging respect. And a new addition, Sergeant Theron of the Doom Eagles, a space marine who'd survived an encounter with Flynn during a daemon incursion and requested transfer to any unit hunting the Doomslayer. "Why do you want to find him so badly?" I asked Theron as we prepared for departure. The Doom Eagle's scarred face showed complex emotion. "Because he saved my entire company without saying a word, then vanished before we could thank him. Because I watched him fight demons with an efficiency that made our chapter's veterans look like neophytes. Because I need to know if warriors like that really exist, or if I imagined hope in the form of a green-armored legend." We translated into the Pandorax system 4 days later and immediately understood why Flynn had gone dark. The system wasn't just corrupted, it was drowning in warp energy. 3 demon worlds, not 1. 7 greater demons maintaining a permanent ritual that kept the system locked halfway between real space and the immaterium. An estimated 50 million lesser daemons maintaining infrastructure and defending the ritual sites. This wasn't a battlefield. This was a chaos stronghold so powerful it should have required a full crusade to assault. And Flynn had walked in alone, scanning for Primarch-level biosigns, our tech priest reported, his mechadendrites trembling as they processed the corrupted sensor data, detecting multiple anomalies. "Lord Inquisitor, I'm reading battle damage across all 3 daemon worlds, massive destruction consistent with Flynn's tactics, and, throne preserve us, he's still alive. Biosigns detected on Pandorax Prime, the largest demon world. He's moving, engaging targets, but signals are weak. He's badly damaged. How long has he been fighting here? Alaric asked. Based on damage patterns and demon casualties, the tech priest calculated rapidly. 17 days continuous combat. He's fought his way through all 3 demon worlds, eliminating ritual sites and greater demon manifestations. He's won, Lord Inquisitor. He's actually disrupted their stronghold, but the effort has nearly destroyed him. We deployed via drop pod to Flynn's location, a cathedral fortress at Pandorax Prime's center, built from compressed demon flesh and impossible geometry. The structure pulsed with malevolent energy, its very existence an affront to reality. Inside we found carnage. Demon corpses filled every chamber, piled so high they formed barriers. The walls were scorched with plasma fire, shattered by explosive impacts, marked with blade strikes that had cut through reality itself. This wasn't just a battle site. It was evidence of the most one-sided demon elimination in recorded history. We found Flynn in the cathedral's heart, surrounded by the dissolving remains of 7 greater demons. He'd killed them all, but the victory had cost him nearly everything. His armor was shattered, half its systems non-functional. His weapons were empty, discarded around him. His body showed injuries that would have killed any other being instantly. Limbs barely attached, organs visible through armor breaches. Blood loss that should have resulted in death hours ago. But he was still conscious, still alert, still ready to fight. When we entered, his hand moved toward a broken weapon before recognition stopped him. "Covenant," he rasped, his voice unprocessed and raw. "Guilliman send you?" "Yes," I confirmed, signaling our medici team forward. "We're extracting you. The demon stronghold is broken. You won. Now let us get you medical attention." "Can't leave yet." Flynn tried to stand, his Primarch physiology attempting to compensate for catastrophic damage. 7 greater demons down, but there's an 8th, hiding, waiting. If I leave, it'll rebuild everything. All this... He gestured weakly at the demon corpses. All this for nothing. "Brother Flynn!" Alaric approached carefully, his grey knight armor gleaming in the cathedral's unnatural light. "You've been fighting for 17 days straight against impossible odds. You've eliminated demon concentrations that should have required multiple chapters. You've disrupted a chaos stronghold that stood for centuries. You've done enough. Let us find the 8th demon. You need medical care." "No." Flynn's voice gained strength, fueled by pure stubborn will. "I started this. I finish it. That's what I do." Sister Magdalene knelt beside him, her faith-driven compassion overriding tactical considerations. "Flynn, please. You've proven everything you needed to prove. Your strength, your dedication, your purpose, nobody doubts them. But even the Emperor's weapons need maintenance. Let us help you." Flynn looked at her with eyes that had seen 10,000 years of hell. "Sister, if I stop now, if I leave one demon alive after fighting for 17 days, then what was it all for? The pain, the injuries, the effort, all meaningless if the job isn't finished." "The job is never finished," I said quietly. "That's what you taught me. Demons are eternal. You can't kill them all. You can only kill as many as possible before your weapon body fails. And Flynn, your body is failing. If you keep fighting now, you'll die. Is that what you want? To fall here, having accomplished so much but unable to complete the final kill?" He was silent for a long moment, his damaged mind processing the logic. Finally, "Where's the 8th demon?" "We don't know yet," Alaric admitted. "Our sensors can't penetrate the warp corruption enough to..." "Northeast Tower," Flynn interrupted. 300 meters up. Lord of Change type, Tzeentch's servant. Named Kairosthal. Been watching the whole fight, probably planning something. Kill it and the stronghold collapses completely. Leave it and everything rebuilds in a decade. "How do you know?" Sergeant Theron asked, awe in his voice. "Because I can feel it," Flynn replied. "Feel all of them. Every demon in this system, I feel like static in my head. The greater they are, the louder the signal. That Lord of Change has been screaming at me for 17 days. Kill it and maybe I can finally rest." Alaric and I exchanged glances. The demon was real. Flynn's supernatural sensitivity to their presence was well documented. But could he possibly fight one more battle in his current state? The answer came from Flynn himself. He reached out with a shaking hand and grabbed my arm with startling strength. "Please, let me finish. One more kill. Then you can drag me to your Medicae, repair whatever's broken, lecture me about taking care of myself. Just, please, one more." There was something in his eyes, not just determination, but need. The need to complete what he'd started. The need to prove that 17 days of hell weren't wasted. The need to finish the mission because that's what weapons do. I made a decision that might haunt me forever. "We go together. You're not fighting alone anymore, Flynn. We clear a path to the tower, support you against the Lord of Change, and extract you the moment it's dead." "Agreed." Flynn's scarred face showed something that might have been gratitude. "Agreed." What followed was the most harrowing battle of my career. We fought through Pandorax Prime's nightmare cathedral toward the northeast tower, clearing demon resistance while protecting Flynn's damaged form. The Grey Knights provided psychic shields. Sister Magdalen's faith bolstered our spirits against corruption. Sergeant Theron and his Doom Eagles held the flanks against demon counterattacks, and Flynn, barely able to walk, somehow found the strength to keep fighting. Every demon that broke through our lines met his gauntlets, his blades, his absolute refusal to fall before the mission ended. We reached the tower after 2 hours of continuous combat. The Lord of Change Kyrosthal waited at its summit, a massive demon of shifting colors and impossible geometry, its eyes seeing all possible futures, its sorcery warping reality itself. "Ah," the demon said in a voice like breaking glass. "The Doomslayer arrives. I have seen this moment across 10,000 timelines. In some, you kill me. In others, I kill you. In most, we both die. Such is the nature of fate." Flynn didn't respond with words. He just raised his last functional weapon, a damaged bolt pistol with 3 rounds remaining, and fired. The first shot missed, deflected by reality-warping sorcery. The second shot hit, wounding the demon but not killing it. The third shot jammed. The Lord of Change laughed. The weapon fails at the critical moment. How deliciously ironic. The Emperor's perfect demon killer, defeated by mechanical failure. I shall save her. Flynn threw the bolt pistol. The weapon, propelled by Primarch's strength, even in a damaged body, crossed the distance in a fraction of a second. It struck the Lord of Change's primary head with enough force to shatter bone, or whatever passed for bone in demon anatomy. The demon staggered, its concentration broken. Alaric seized the moment, his nemesis force weapon channeling the Grey Knight's combined psychic might into a strike that pierced the demon's reality-warping defenses. Sister Magdalen's faith blazed like a star, her prayers burning away the warp energy that sustained the demon's manifestation. Sergeant Theron and his Doom Eagles fired in perfect coordination, mass reactive rounds detonating inside the demon's form. And Flynn, with his last reserves of strength, charged. He crashed into the Lord of Change like a falling comet, his gauntlets seizing the demon's primary form and simply refusing to let go. The demon's sorcery burned him. Its talons tore his armor. Its screams threatened to shatter his mind. But he didn't let go. "You are done," Flynn growled, each word an effort that should have been impossible. "No more. No rebuilding. No more demons here. Finished." With a final surge of fury that might have been the Emperor's own wrath channeled through his son, Flynn tore the Lord of Change apart. Not killed, unmade, its essence so thoroughly destroyed that reformation would take millennia if it was even possible. The demon's death scream shook Pandorax Prime to its foundations. The cathedral fortress began collapsing, its demonic infrastructure losing cohesion without the Lord of Change's sorcery maintaining it. "Extraction now!" I shouted into the Vox. "The entire structure is coming down!" We ran, or more accurately, we carried Flynn while running, through collapsing corridors and reality breaches as Pandorax Prime's demon stronghold destroyed itself. We reached our extraction point with seconds to spare, the Thunderhawks retrieving us as the cathedral vanished into a warp rift that sealed behind us. In the gunship's medical bay, as apothecarians worked frantically to stabilize Flynn's catastrophically damaged body, he opened his eyes one last time and looked at me. "Finished it," he whispered. "Mission complete. Can rest now." Then he lost consciousness, his body finally surrendering to the 17 days of hell he'd endured. As we translated back to Imperial space, carrying the Imperium's most dangerous weapon toward recovery and repair, I understood something fundamental. Flynn would never stop. Even if his body failed, even if he died and was somehow resurrected, he would keep hunting demons. Not because the Emperor commanded it, not because the Imperium needed it, but because it was what he was. Purpose incarnate, fury given form, and the galaxy's answer to the question, what happens when you create a weapon so perfect it can never be turned off? The answer walked through hell for 10,000 years and called it satisfaction. Chapter 8, Eternal Vigil. Flynn recovered from the Pandorax campaign after 6 weeks in the Ultramarines' most advanced Medicae facilities. His Primarch physiology, combined with the finest care the Imperium could provide, healed damage that should have been fatal 100 times over. But scars remained, physical marks of the 17-day battle that had nearly killed him, and psychological marks that even a Primarch couldn't fully ignore. On the day he was cleared for deployment, Guilliman summoned both of us to a private meeting in his strategium aboard the Macragge's Honor. Flynn arrived in newly repaired armor, his weapons freshly blessed and loaded, ready to immediately return to demon hunting. He looked restored, but I noticed the subtle changes. Slight hesitation in his movements, brief pauses as if his body was remembering damage. Small indicators that even he wasn't entirely invincible. "Before you disappear back into the eye," Guilliman began without preamble, "we need to discuss what happened at Pandorax." "I won," Flynn said simply. "Demon strongholds destroyed, 8 greater demons eliminated, 50 million lesser demons banished. Mission success." "You nearly died," Guilliman corrected, his voice sharp with concern that bordered on anger. 17 days fighting alone against impossible odds. You ignored basic tactical sense, refused extraction multiple times, and pushed yourself to the point where even your Primarch physiology couldn't compensate. Flynn, that's not dedication, that's suicidal recklessness. Flynn's scarred face showed no emotion. Calculated risk. The demon stronghold needed elimination. I was the only asset positioned to accomplish it, so I did. "At what cost?" Guilliman demanded. "You're the Imperium's most effective demon killer. Every day you're operational, you save thousands of human lives. But if you die on a suicide mission because you refuse to wait for support, all that future demon-killing capacity is lost. Do you understand? Your death doesn't just cost one Primarch. It costs millions of humans who would have been saved by your future actions." For the first time, Flynn showed something other than certainty. His hand clenched, and when he spoke, his processed voice carried complex emotion. "I know. You think I don't do the calculations. Every mission, I assess risk versus benefit. Pandorax was higher risk than normal, but the daemon stronghold was operational for 3 centuries. It had survived 4 previous Imperial assaults. If I'd waited for support, coordinated a proper campaign, followed standard doctrine, it would have taken months, years possibly. How many humans would the demons have killed in that time? How many worlds corrupted? How many souls damned?" He met Guilliman's gaze directly. "So yes, I took excessive risk. Yes, I nearly died. But I killed 8 greater demons in 17 days instead of spending 17 months assembling a proper crusade that might have failed anyway. From a strategic perspective, which choice actually protects more human lives?" The question hung in the strategium like a blade, because Flynn was right. His reckless solo assault had accomplished what conventional military operations might never have achieved. But he was also wrong, because his death would create a void the Imperium couldn't fill. Guilliman was silent for a long moment, clearly wrestling with the contradiction. Finally, he spoke in a voice that carried 10,000 years of command experience. You're right that your methods are effective, but you're wrong to think your life only matters in terms of current mission value. Flynn, you're not just a weapon, you're my brother. One of the last links I have to the age when Father walked among us. Your death would cost more than demon-killing capacity. It would cost family. Flynn's expression flickered. Surprise, discomfort, something that might have been pain. Roboute, I appreciate the sentiment, but I stopped being your brother 10,000 years ago when I walked into the Eye. I became a weapon. That's not tragedy, it's choice. I'm at peace with what I am. I'm not, Guilliman said quietly, and I refuse to watch you kill yourself for a mission that has no end. So here's what's going to happen. You will accept more support, not command. I know better than to try controlling you, but resources, intelligence networks, supply chains, medical teams positioned in your operational areas, and most importantly, you will check in regularly, not monthly, weekly. Just a simple signal confirming you're alive. That's not negotiable. And if I refuse, then I will dedicate Imperial resources to finding you, extracting you, and forcibly providing the support you refuse to accept, Guilliman replied, with absolute authority. I'm the Imperial Regent, Flynn. I command resources you can't imagine. I'd rather use them cooperatively with you than antagonistically against you, but I will ensure my brother survives. Your choice is whether that support is comfortable or uncomfortable. Flynn stared at his brother. This Primarch, who'd returned from death to lead the Imperium, who'd survived 10,000 years of stasis, who now refused to lose another brother to stubborn pride. Finally, incredibly, Flynn smiled. It was a small expression, barely visible on his scarred face, but genuine. You always were the stubborn one, he said. Fine. Weekly check-ins, coordinated support. I'll even try to be reasonable about accepting help. But understand, my mission doesn't change. I kill demons. That's all I do. That's all I'll ever do. Your support makes me more effective, which means more dead demons, which means more saved humans. I can accept that logic. Thank you, Guilliman said, relief evident in his voice. Now, before you leave, there's something else. Covenant, show him. I activated a hololith display showing a galactic map with highlighted regions. These are the 17 most active demon manifestation zones across the Imperium. We've been tracking patterns for the past 5 years, correlating your eliminations with overall demon activity, and we've discovered something interesting. I zoomed the display to show detailed statistics. In sectors where you've operated, demon incursion frequency drops by an average of 43% for up to 3 years after you've cleared the area. Not just immediate elimination, long-term suppression. You're not just killing demons, Flynn. You're making entire regions of space more resistant to warp corruption. Flynn studied the data with the tactical analysis that came naturally to all Primarchs. Permanent damage to their manifestation infrastructure. I've been hypothesizing this for millennia, but couldn't confirm it without broader data. We can confirm it now, I continued. Which means your operations have strategic value beyond immediate demon elimination. Every region you clear stays clearer for years. That's force multiplication. That's strategic effect, and it means we can optimize your deployment for maximum long-term impact. I highlighted specific regions. These 17 zones are critical to Imperial defense. If you could clear them in sequence, focusing on the worst first, the cumulative effect would reduce overall demon incursion rates by an estimated 20 to 30% galaxy-wide. That's millions of lives saved annually. For decades, Flynn absorbed this information in silence, his enhanced mind processing implications. You're saying I should work systematically instead of reactively, target the worst demon concentrations first, clear them thoroughly, then move to the next, create zones of relative safety that persist long-term. Exactly, Guilliman confirmed. It means longer missions, more coordination with Imperial forces, and more patience than you're naturally inclined toward. But the strategic benefits are undeniable. You become not just the Emperor's fury, but his shield, creating protected space where humanity can actually thrive instead of just survive. For a long moment, Flynn said nothing. He stared at the galactic map, at the highlighted zones where his efforts could have maximum strategic impact. When he finally spoke, his voice carried a weight I'd never heard from him. My entire existence has been tactical. Kill demons, move to next target, repeat. I never thought about strategy, about building something instead of just destroying, about creating safety that lasts beyond my immediate presence. He turned to face us. You're asking me to think like a Primarch instead of a weapon. I'm asking you to be both, Guilliman replied. The weapon that kills demons and the Primarch who plans how those kills have maximum effect. You've spent 10,000 years perfecting the tactical execution. Let me help you with the strategy. Together, we might actually change the balance of power in this eternal war. Flynn was quiet for several seconds, an eternity for a Primarch's decision-making process. Then, show me the first target zone. I'll clear it completely, establish baseline data for suppression duration, and report results. If your strategic model holds, I'll continue to the next zone. If it doesn't, we adjust methodology. Deal. Deal. Guilliman extended his hand in the warrior's grip they'd established years ago. Welcome back to strategic planning, brother. Father would be proud. Father would have ordered me to do this 10,000 years ago if he'd had the data, Flynn corrected, but there was no bitterness in his voice. But yes, let's see if the Doomslayer can be more than just a murder machine. Let's see if I can actually win the war instead of just fighting it forever. Over the following months, Flynn began operating according to the new strategic framework. His deployments became more focused, his missions more thoroughly planned, his eliminations more systematically effective. He cleared the first target zone, the Nachmund Gauntlet, in 3 months of intensive operations, eliminating demon concentrations so thoroughly that warp incursion rates dropped to nearly 0. Then he moved to the second zone, and the third, working through the list with mechanical efficiency tempered by strategic patience. But something else changed too. Flynn started communicating more. His weekly check-ins evolved from terse, still-alive confirmations into brief tactical reports. He began requesting specific intelligence instead of just accepting what we provided. He even attended virtual strategy meetings via hololith. Silent, listening, occasionally offering insights that proved devastatingly accurate. He was remembering how to be a Primarch, not just a weapon. Sister Magdalene noticed the change during one of our coordination meetings. He's healing, she observed quietly. Not physically, his body was always resilient, but psychologically, he's reconnecting with purpose beyond just killing, finding meaning in protection instead of just destruction. Is that better? I asked. Or are we changing what made him so effective? Both, she replied. He's becoming more balanced, which might make him slightly less single-mindedly lethal, but it also makes him sustainable. The old Flynn was burning out. 17 days at Pandorax proved that. This Flynn, who thinks strategically and accepts support, can fight forever. Which version better serves humanity? She had a point. The Doomslayer who fought alone was terrifying but finite. A Primarch who combined demon-killing fury with strategic intelligence, supported by Imperial resources and working toward long-term objectives, was infinite. 2 years into the new strategic framework, Flynn achieved something remarkable. He cleared all 17 target zones. Demon incursion rates across those regions dropped by an average of 39%. Millions of human lives were saved. Entire sectors breathed easier, knowing the worst demon concentrations had been systematically eliminated. And Flynn asked for the next list of targets. I provided him with data on 37 secondary zones, regions with moderate demon activity that could benefit from his attention. He studied the list for 3 days, then submitted his own operational plan. A 5-year campaign to clear all 37 zones in optimal sequence, coordinated with Imperial military operations to hold cleared territory. It was brilliant. It was methodical. It was exactly what a Primarch should do: strategic thinking, combined with unmatched tactical execution. Guilliman approved the plan immediately and allocated Imperial resources to support it. Flynn deployed the following week, beginning his systematic purge of the galaxy's demon populations with newfound purpose. But before he left, he did something unprecedented. He visited me in my inquisitorial fortress. I found him in my office one morning, standing before a window overlooking Terra's hive spires, his green armor gleaming in the dawn light. "Inquisitor Covenant," he said without turning. "I wanted to thank you for finding me in the eye, for not trying to control me, for understanding what I needed to be and helping me become more than that." "You did the work yourself," I replied. "I just provided data and support." "No." Flynn turned to face me, and his scarred face showed something like peace. "You saw me as both weapon and person. Most people choose one or the other. Either I'm the Doomslayer who exists only to kill, or I'm a lost Primarch who needs to be saved from himself. You understood I could be both, that I should be both. That understanding is what made everything else possible." He moved to the door, then paused. "The galaxy is still full of demons. I'll be fighting them for the rest of my existence, however long that is. But now I'm fighting towards something instead of just against something. Building protected space instead of just clearing corrupted space. That difference matters. So, thank you." Then he was gone, departing Terra aboard a requisitioned strike cruiser, loaded with enough ammunition and supplies to wage war for a decade. I stood at my window and watched his ship ascend through Terra's atmosphere, carrying the Emperor's fury back toward the Eternal War. But this time, that fury was tempered with purpose, supported by family, and aimed toward a future where humanity might actually win instead of just survive. The Lost Primarch had been found. The weapon had been maintained, and the galaxy was about to learn what happened when the Doomslayer fought not with mindless rage, but with Primarch-level intelligence and strategy. Hell was about to have a very bad millennium. Epilogue. From the personal journals of Inquisitor Lord Covenant, Ordo Malleus, restricted access, sealed under Primarch authority. It has been 11 years since I found Flynn in the Eye of Terror. 11 years since the Lost 11th Primarch returned to the Imperium, not as a conquering hero or political symbol, but as exactly what he always was: humanity's ultimate weapon against demons. The results speak for themselves. Demon incursion rates across 43 sectors have dropped by an average of 32%. Chaos cult activity in Flynn-cleared zones has decreased by 57%. Human casualties from demonic possession are down 41% in regions where he's operated. He's killed an estimated 23 million daemons since we established coordination. He's banished 37 greater demons. He's disrupted over 400 summoning rituals. And he's created zones of relative safety where Imperial citizens can live without constant terror of demonic manifestation. But more than statistics, Flynn has become a legend. The Green Angel stories have spread throughout the Imperium despite our best efforts at secrecy. Guardsmen tell tales of a mysterious warrior who appears when demon threats are worst. Space Marines whisper about the unknown brother who fights beside them in humanity's darkest hours. Even the Ecclesiarchy has created unofficial saints' tales about an avenging angel who embodies the Emperor's wrath. Flynn doesn't care about his legend. He just keeps fighting, working through his target lists with mechanical efficiency tempered by strategic intelligence. Weekly check-ins have become routine. Coordination with Imperial forces has become standard. He's even trained specialist demon hunter teams, not to his level, but competent enough to handle minor threats without requiring his personal intervention. He's become, against all probability, a force for stability in a galaxy of chaos. But I worry, because I've seen the cost, the scars that accumulate despite his Primarch physiology, the moments of hesitation that suggest cumulative damage even his enhanced body struggles to repair, the brief pauses in conversation as if he's remembering something painful. Flynn is still burning himself out, just more slowly and strategically than before. He's a weapon being used at maximum efficiency, which means he's still being consumed. Just over decades instead of days. I've discussed this with Guilliman, who shares my concerns but has no solution. He's my brother, the Lord of Ultramar said. But he's also right that his purpose is demon elimination. All we can do is support him, extend his operational lifespan as long as possible, and hope that when he finally falls, he knows he died making a difference. That's the tragedy at the heart of Flynn's story. He's the Emperor's most perfect weapon, so perfect that he'll fight until he physically cannot continue, and no amount of support or rest can truly recover what each battle costs him. But perhaps that's not tragedy. Perhaps that's triumph. Because Flynn chose this, chose to be the weapon, the fury, the eternal guardian standing between humanity and hell. He could have walked away at any time, could have demanded a different purpose, could have accepted comfortable retirement on a peaceful world. He didn't. He won't. He can't. Because demon killing is not what he does. It's what he is. And in a galaxy where most beings are forced into roles they never chose, where conscripts die for causes they don't understand, where billions suffer fates they never deserved, there's something profound about one being who knows exactly what he is, accepts it completely, and finds satisfaction in fulfilling his purpose. Flynn is the Doomslayer, the Lost Primarch, the Emperor's fury incarnate. And somewhere in the galaxy right now, demons are learning why you don't threaten humanity while he still draws breath. May the Emperor guide his aim, may Guilliman support his mission, and may hell burn forever under his relentless assault. The weapon is deployed, the war continues, and humanity endures. That's all that matters. That's all that ever mattered. Inquisitor Lord Covenant, Ordo Malleus. Date 999, M42. Location, Terror classification, absolute restricted access.